Friends, welcome to my channel. Before listening to this story, I will ask you to like and subscribe. It's not difficult for you, but it's nice for me, and we're starting. I should have known better. I should have remembered the old saying, if it looks too good to be true, then it is. I was in love. She was almost everything I thought about except for my studies, and it didn't make sense to me. I was proud of my intelligence and ability to think logically, but there was nothing logical about how I felt about Althea. She was beautiful, smart, and very popular, but I wasn't. I was not a lover of bed pleasures, and there was nothing exceptional about me. I was smart, but popular is something I've never been and probably never will be. It's not that I didn't want to be like that, but for some reason, shy, nerdy types like me were shunned. I didn't do any sports, and all I did was study and focus on my passion computers and the amazing things you can do with them. Althea changed boyfriends the same way I got a haircut every couple of weeks. She went from guy to guy, all the jocks and all those whom I've heard girls call handsome, like a bee fluttering from flower to flower. At the time, it never occurred to me to think about the fact that maybe 2/3 of them were black. With the exception of a couple of classes together, I had absolutely nothing in common with Althea, so it was completely illogical for me to spend at least a minute thinking about her. However, in my sophomore year and junior year, I watched her and dreamed of becoming one of the guys she spent time with. It was at the beginning of my senior year when a miracle happened. I was in the library and I was doing research on an article that I needed to turn in. I was sitting at the table and looking through the reference materials when Althea came up to the table and asked me if she could sit down. I was so surprised that my tongue was slurring, but I was not going to refuse for anything, so I just pointed to one of the chairs. "We barely know each other," she said. "So you probably don't know that sometimes I can be harsh almost to the point of being insulting. This is probably one of those cases. Are you gay?" This question took me by surprise, and I just sat there with my mouth open, staring at her. After an embarrassingly long silence, she said, "This is a simple question. A simple yes or no would be enough." No, I'm not like that," I managed to squeeze out of myself. "The next question. I've seen you watching me for the last couple of years, but you've never made any attempt to get to know me better. Why is that?" The situation was so strange that I just sat in silence. "You're not such a good conversationalist." Well, let me give you my thoughts on this. I decided it was one of two things. First of all, you were gay and watched me run around with the handsome guys you wanted for yourself, but you say you're not gay, so that brings me to the second point. You are shy and unsure of yourself. Shy, perhaps with a touch of inferiority complex. This is all? Are you too shy and afraid that you won't be able to compete with football and basketball players? It was too much, too fast, and I was overwhelmed. The words just wouldn't come out of my mouth. "Come on, Herb, help me here. Don't make me do everything for you." "Do anything?" I managed to blurt it out. "Yes, to do all this. You don't want to come to me, so I had to come to you. I'm sitting here and giving you the opportunity to step in and say something, but you're just sitting there like a lump in your throat. Herb, you're not really helping my ego." "I'm sorry, I just don't know what to say." Not used to strong, assertive women, Herb? Or is he just not used to women at all? I don't have much experience with women." "Okay, I guess I'll have to do it all by myself." She pushed a piece of paper across the table to me. "This is my address. Pick me up at 7. I need to go to a party, and I need a hand to hold on to. I cannot. I have a job to do, and I need to finish it tonight." It's a shitty excuse. Your GPA is a solid B, and you're the favorite of every professor whose classes you attend. You could turn in a paper that just said, "I hate this subject," and you'd still get an A for it. 7 o'clock in the evening. She got up and gathered up her purse and books. She turned to leave and then turned back to me. "And Herb, put on a tie. First dates should be a bit formal, don't you think?" I watched her leave and wondered what the hell had happened. I was there to pick her up at 7, and I was actually wearing a tie. We went to a party and I spent 4 hours under the gaze of people who were just as curious about what was going on as I was. A couple of times the guy tried to separate Althea from me and force her to leave with him, but she just said she didn't think her boyfriend would like it. The guy? I was completely baffled by what was happening. When the party was over, I drove Althea home and walked her to the door. She smiled, patted my cheek, and said, "I don't kiss on the first date, Herbie. This gives the guy a reason to look forward to the next date. For us, it will be the day after tomorrow. Dinner and a trip to the cinema. Pick me up at 6. and she went inside. Since it was only Wednesday, actually early Thursday morning, I had a day and a half to try to figure out what was going on, but by 5 o'clock on Friday evening I still had no idea. I suppose I could just go out and ask her, but why would I do that? I've been watching her for years, not expecting to ever even talk to her, and now she's telling people that I'm her boyfriend. Was I going to put it in danger? No way. I might only last a week, maybe less, but I was going to take what I could get. I picked her up at 5:50, and her greeting was accompanied by an embarrassed smile. We're a little impatient, aren't we? No, I just hate being late. It's a good character trait, Herbie. I mean impatience. I've booked a table at Lascar's, and I hope you enjoy the posh movies because I'm dying to watch The First Wives Club. She looked at her watch, then at me, and smiled and said, Don't worry, Herbie. I didn't order your dish either. Dinner was pleasant, and we used this time to learn more about each other. This movie was not to my taste, but I would gladly watch a foreign movie with subtitles just to be with Althea. When I drove her home and walked her to the door, she thanked me for a great time and kissed me so hard that my bones turned to jelly. She said to pick her up at 1 o'clock on Saturday afternoon. I was driving home with my head full of thoughts and questions, but the only thing I was sure of was that I was completely confused. The girl of my dreams invited me on 2 dates and just set up a third, and I didn't even ask her out the first time. Moreover, as far as I remember, I never asked her out on a date. Althea ended each of our dates by setting up the next one. She took responsibility for my life, and I was so happy that I never said a word. I've never questioned it, not once. The next 4 dates ended with kisses on her porch, and each of them was slightly longer than the previous one. The next dozen or so ended up kissing in the car, which seemed to get hotter and hotter, until one evening she unbuttoned her blouse to show me that she wasn't wearing a bra. She took my hands and brought them to her chest. Show them that you like them, Herbie. I played with them for a while, and then Althea pulled my head towards her. Work on your breasts, Herbie. Lick my breasts. I did so, and she began to moan, and her hands wrapped around the back of my head and pressed me to her. I ran my hand over her leg, and she slapped me on it. Don't be greedy, Herbie. All in good time. The next 3 dates ended the same way. I had to pay homage to her breasts, but the next, when I reached for her breasts, she pushed my hands away. No, Herbie, not today. It's your turn today, and her hand reached for my fly. After that, everything went quickly. Then one evening I picked her up, and when we went to the car, Althea asked me for the keys. I'm driving tonight, Herbie. 15 minutes later, we were in the motel parking lot. I looked at her, and she looked back at me and smiled. It's called escalation, Herbie. The transition to more and better. You're not a virgin, are you? My expression answered that question too well. Good. I like picking cherries and teaching guys how to do something right. I do not know why, but these words and the tone of voice in which she uttered them finally made me ask the question that had been waiting to be asked since that day in the library. What's going on here, Althea? This is a compatibility check, Herbie. Compatibility check? I don't understand. In almost all areas, you're perfect for me, Herbie. The only thing left for me to check is whether we are compatible. And if it's not, then obviously I won't marry you. She opened the door and started to get out of the car. Come on, Herbie. Let's see if we have a future. We got married 2 months after graduation. Almost everyone who knows Althea and me thinks I'm henpecked. This is true, but at the same time it is not true. Yes, it seems like I'm really obeying Althea's wishes. Yes, dear, and, of course, dear, play a big role in my conversations with Althea, both in public and at home. But it's not because I'm a wimp, but because I just don't care or because it just doesn't matter. I was at the market looking for a new car, and Althea chose the one I bought. It provides high gasoline consumption and has a very high safety rating, and besides, it fits the image that you need to create if you want to succeed at work. What did I care? I've never had much interest in cars, and the one she chose took me perfectly from point A to point B. She chose my clothes, but as far as I understood it, it just meant that I didn't have to do it. If she had said, Herbie, I'm going to paint the walls of the dining room black, draw 2 white horizontal stripes in the middle, and a yellow vertical stripe to the right of the center, I would have said, That's nice, honey, because I just didn't give a damn about anything else. Like that. The friends we had were the ones she chose for us, but so what? Anyway, I've never had many friends. Althea chose our classes. And again, so what? Before we got married, I did almost nothing except study and play with computers, so whether it was opera or line dancing, it was all new to me, and if it pleased Althea, I was happy. Althea got her way 90% of the time, and it was always because of things that I just didn't care about. Althea didn't get her way when it came to things that I cared about, and that's what mattered to me. When I was furnishing my home office, Althea wanted cherry wood for the desk and bookshelves, and I wanted oak, so oak is what I got. For our home computer, Althea wanted a Mac, and I wanted an IBM clone, so a clone is what we got. So I got my way in what mattered to me, and Althea got her way in everything else. If that makes me seem henpecked to someone, so be it. The marriage was a no-brainer, at least from my point of view. For 8 years, 7 months, and 2 days, and then I made the mistake of unexpectedly returning home. It's not that I didn't call in advance, because Althea was supposed to be at work. I went to an early lunch with my boss, and something I ate apparently caused me to have mild food poisoning, and the boss told me to take the rest of the day off. When I got home, Althea's car was parked in the driveway, and I wondered why she was at home and not at work. I didn't have to be surprised for long, because as soon as I opened the front door, I heard, "Damn it, use me hard." I quietly closed the door, went and looked into the living room. Althea leaned over the arm of the sofa. Her dress was pulled up to her waist, her panties were hanging from her left leg, and a black man was using her from behind. "Hurry up, my love. Hurry up, make me finish the job. We need to get back to work. Hurry up, baby, use me, hurry up." I should be angry. I probably should have exploded with anger and stormed into the room, but I didn't. I leaned against the door jamb and watched. Finally, a black man noticed me, abruptly stopped making love to Althea, and walked out of her. He stood in a stance to repel the attack and waited for me to do something. As soon as he stopped making love to her and came out, Althea started crying. "Don't stop, damn it, I've almost finished the job. Don't stop, use me." When he didn't answer and didn't come back, Althea sat up, looked over her shoulder and saw me. Her face paled. She got up from the couch and said, "We need to hurry back to work, Jerome," straightening her dress and pulling on her panties. Then she looked at me and said, "You have nothing to worry about, Herb. We'll talk about it when I get home from work tonight." "I have nothing to worry about. I come home and, not now, Herb. I have to get back to work. We'll talk tonight." And she headed for the front door. Jerome was watching me warily as he followed her, and I couldn't help but be a little sarcastic. "Be cool, man. You heard her. I have nothing to worry about, and we'll talk about it when she gets home." Watching Althea walk back up the driveway, I wondered why I wasn't more upset about this situation than I actually was. Something has shifted in the space-time continuum just enough to throw events off course. Althea was supposed to continue hanging out with her black football and basketball players, and I was probably supposed to remain a confirmed bachelor. But something strange happened, and Althea ended up at my library table. Well, that was easy enough to fix. I was going to meet with a lawyer in the next day or two and get down to business, but first I needed to figure out what I was going to do with Althea, and quite possibly Jerome if he was stupid enough to keep hanging around. Althea was about to see a side in her husband that she didn't even know existed. In keeping with Althea's calm reaction when I caught her cuckolding me and my own behavior after I caught them, I cooked dinner and waited for her to come home, complete with an open bottle of wine that was breathing on the kitchen table. I assumed that Althea would stick to her usual schedule, especially in light of what happened, and she didn't disappoint me. Showing no fear could be her motto. She entered the kitchen, calm and confident as always. She saw the preparations I had made, and I noticed a faint trace of a smile at the corners of her eyes. I could read her mind. This is going to be easier than I thought. She poured herself a glass of wine, took a sip, and said, "I'm sorry you had to come to my place today, but you never come home in the afternoon. However, I should have planned something like this. It's just that the motel rooms are so tasteless. I'm also sorry that I got involved in this case. Motel rooms can be tasteless, but I'd rather you suffer because of the tastelessness than for me to return home to what I came to. It's not every day that a man who thought he was happily married comes home and discovers that he's not." "Herbie, I told you you had nothing to worry about. I'm not going to leave you for Jerome." "Oh my God, Herbie, it was just an affair. You're my man, Herbie, and you should know that. I love you, and you should know it too." It was a very strange way to show your love for me. I said I was sorry, and I am. I should have taken Jerome to a motel or a hotel. How long has this been going on? Jerome, it's been about 2 weeks now. The way you answered makes me think Jerome is not the first. Althea was silent for a minute or two, and then she said, "Yes, that's right." "How long and for how long?" "I don't remember how many at once, but it's been going on since I met you." "Would you care to explain it?" "Not really, but I think I should do it. It's been going on since high school. I went to a victory party after a football match and had a little too much to drink. The next morning, I woke up between two black football players. As soon as I woke up, they treated me almost the same as when I was drunk, like with a cheating white trash. So why did you marry me if you really wanted black men?" "It didn't matter at first, Herb. I only married you because of your potential. In terms of looks, you weren't bad, but you weren't that great either. All the guys I dated in college were taller than you in terms of looks, cute, with strong bodies, good in bed, but that was all they had. I could predict the future for each of them. They would become gas station employees, convenience store clerks, and used car salesmen. The couple would take up professional sports, dislocate their knee, and eventually start selling real estate. I didn't want that. I needed someone who was going to achieve something on his own. I looked around, saw you, and followed you. I would have my own security, and my tough guys would be on the side. Then things got complicated. I fell in love with you. What made the situation even more complicated was that I discovered that even though I loved you, I couldn't tear myself away from my strong bodies. And I discovered that they weren't just solid bodies that I couldn't tear myself away from. They were black solids. I do not know if it was a taboo on black and white or something else, but I was fixated on black men. In the first year of our marriage, I struggled with this desire, but every time I saw a black man, I felt a tingling sensation in my crotch. And then one day I ran into one of my old boyfriends at Walmart. He worked there. I correctly assessed his potential, and we ended up in a motel. When I came home that night, I felt so damn guilty, and even though you didn't know I was cheating on you, I did everything I could to use you half to death to make it up to you. You never suspected anything, and I let it happen again. And I've been doing it ever since, but I swear to you, Herb, they don't mean shit to me. They just feed my habit. You're my man, Herb. You are the one I love and with whom I want to live my life." "So all the time we were married, you were cuckolding me with niggas?" "No, not all the time. It's a random thing. I know it's self-destructive behavior, so I quit doing it. But after 5 or 6 months, thirst drives me crazy, and I find a black man and have an affair. After a couple of weeks, I stop doing this, and after about 6 months, the cycle starts over. It's just an affair, Herbie. This does not threaten our marriage in the least. Anyway, it helps." "Oh? And may I ask how exactly?" "Whenever I have one of my affairs, the number of times you and I make love in a week increases." "And is it because it turns you on that you spend time with me after making love with lovers?" "No, Herbie, I would never do that to you." "Well, that's not exactly true. It actually happened once, and I felt so guilty about it that I never let it happen again. I always take a shower before I come to you, Herbie. Always. The reason it expands our lives is because I walk away from my black lover knowing that all he represents is love. But I'm going home to the man I love and who's going to make fantastic love to me. It's not about hurting you or shaming you. I love you, Herb. I really do. My craving for blacks is just an itch that I have to scratch from time to time. We've been together for almost 9 years, Herb. And it's been going on all this time. It didn't hurt us a bit, and now that you know, there's no reason why it should bother us. It looks suspiciously like you're going to keep doing this." "Of course I'm going to have affairs. I've already mentioned that it didn't hurt us." "So I should just say, 'Yes, dear,' and turn a blind eye to it." "Yes, honey, that's right." "What kind of person do you think I am, Althea? Do you really think that I can just sit back and let you make love to blacks whenever you feel like it?" "Yes, Herb. That's exactly what I think it is. You love me, and if you expect to keep me, then indulge my little whim. So you don't really love me after all." "Don't be silly, baby. Of course I do. You just told me that if I don't let you make love to blacks, you're going to leave me. This is undoubtedly some kind of strong love that you feel if you can do it." Althea stared at me for a moment or two and then stood up. "I'm going upstairs to take a shower. Do you want me to wear heels when you come up to make love to me?" It didn't end the way I wanted it to, and I needed a change of mood to make what I wanted to do work. "We're not done yet, Althea. We still have something to talk about." "What?" "Have you ever wondered why I didn't get confused when I came and found you with Jerome?" "No, I can't say that I did it. You've always been a calm and rational person, Herb. That's one of your strengths. Rationality had nothing to do with it, Althea. The thing is, I find black skin on white skin very erotic, and the whole time I was watching, I wanted you and Jerome to be completely naked, not just partially." Really? Did that turn you on? So much so that I want to see it again. What do you mean? I mean, I want to watch you and Jerome do this naked thing. I want to watch from beginning to end. Althea looked at me with an expression of amazement on her face. Oh my God, Herbie. All these years, I had no idea that there was something perverted about you. I didn't know either, watching you and Jerome. When did you plan to see him again? Tomorrow at lunch. No, not at lunch. Call him and tell him that we had a fight when you got home and that I moved out. Then bring him home with you tomorrow after work. You can make love to him all night if you want, and I just want to be able to watch. I do not know if I can get him to do this. He'll never know I'm here. I'll be watching from the closet. Do you have any more surprises for me, Herbie? Do you want me now before I take a shower? Would you like to feel someone else's liquid? Would you like to please me before I take a shower? No, I don't think so. One small step at a time. Let's see how I feel after watching you and Jerome. Okay, Herbie, I get it, but you still haven't answered my question. What kind of question was that? Do you want me to wear heels after I take a shower? I looked at her and quickly decided that since this would be the last time, and since I needed her to be in the right frame of mind when she brought Jerome home, I should do everything possible to make her feel comfortable in this situation. Marshmallow heels, stilettos, nylon stockings, and a garter belt. I was watching from the bedroom window when Althea pulled into the driveway and saw her and Jerome getting out of the car. I climbed into the closet and waited, and about 5 minutes later, the two of them entered the bedroom. I watched as they passionately kissed in French and as Althea arranged a striptease for her black lover. Undressing, she walked over to Jerome, knelt down in front of him, and helped him take off his trousers and underpants. I was there to get revenge. I waited until Jerome was undressed and they were both on the bed before coming out of the closet. Althea was the first to see me, and her face paled at the sight of the gun. Herb, what? Just shut the fuck up, you cheater. But you're... Forget what I said, Althea. You've been lying to me for 9 years now, so don't be upset if I lied to you. I waved the gun at Jerome and tossed Althea 2 pairs of handcuffs. Lie face down on the bed, Jerome, and stretch your arms out to the bedposts. Althea, you will take the handcuffs and fasten his wrists to the bedposts. Hey, dude, there's no way in the world I'm going to agree with this shit. You're going to make Jerome or you're going to die. That's what happens if you don't do what I tell you to do. They can't track me by gun, so here's the story I'll tell the cops when they come to pick up your corpse. I came home from work and found that a black man was raping my wife. I rushed at him and he grabbed the gun that he used to force my wife to undress. I got to him before he could shoot me. We were fighting and the gun went off. The shot was accidental and killed my wife. And then I took the gun away from the rapist, stepped away from him and told him to lie down on the floor and lie still while I called the police. Instead, he lunged at me and I shot him. I didn't want to kill him, just wound him. But I don't have that kind of experience with firearms, and I ended up shooting him dead. It's never going to work, man. Too many people at work know that your wife is making love to me. People are at work, Jerome, but not the poor husband whose back you were hiding behind. He doesn't know that you didn't rape her, and that the gun was for your protection in case I got home early. I really thought she had been raped. I bet I can handle Jerome. Do you want to bet? Otherwise, it's your business, but you'll be dead, so you'll never know if you won the bet, will you? Althea was sobbing and screaming, You're not going to hurt me, Herb? You can't hurt me. You love me, Herb. Please, you love me and you won't hurt me. I'm sorry, Althea, but it all depends on your boyfriend. For my story to work, you have to be dead. Oh my God, do what he says, Jerome. Please do as he says. Jerome looked at me intently. This is not going to end well for you, white boy. No matter what you do, sooner or later I'll get you. I'm just terrified, Jerome. And now on the bed, face down. And I clicked the trigger of the gun again. Or you'll die. He glared at me but did what I told him to do. Althea handcuffed him to the bed, and then I sat her down on a chair and handcuffed her to it. Althea was still crying and wanted to know what I was going to do. I'm going to show Jerome what happens when someone messes with something that belonged to me. I went back to the closet and came out with a bag. I took a bottle of beer and a tube of cream out of my bag and put them on the bedside table. Have you ever been used in the ass, Jerome? He began to struggle and toss, but his wrists were too tightly chained to the bedposts. That's how it's going to work, Jerome. Do you see this beer bottle? Did you notice a chip on the neck of the bottle and a crack on the neck? I had to work on 31 bottles of Jerome just to get one like I wanted. Here I'm going to do one of two things. I'm going to use your ass with this beer bottle until my hands get tired. I hope it breaks while I'm doing this and that it cuts your insides to hell. I suppose you'll be praying to God that it doesn't break. I held the bottle up to his face and tapped the neck of the bottle with the barrel of my pistol, and the crack lengthened. Damn it, I better not do this anymore. I want it to break inside you, not outside. I reached for a tube of cream. At least I'm not going to destroy him with a dry Jerome. Hey, dude, don't do this. This is wrong, man. It's unfair. She came for me, man. I didn't chase after her. It's wrong that you're doing this to me. I'm sorry, Jerome, but you made love to my wife. And even after I found out about it yesterday, you were still going to do it with her again today at lunch. If you make love to my wife, you will pay for it. No, dude, not that. Please, dude, don't do this. I'll do anything, man, but don't do anything with a beer bottle. Anything, Jerome? Okay, I'll give you a choice. You made love to my wife, so I'm going to destroy you. That's a given, Jerome. Does that sound better, Jerome? Would you rather I cornered you than use you with a beer bottle? Oh, dude, please. Dude, don't do this to me. Your choice, Jerome. Strictly your choice. I opened a tube of cream and started spreading some on the neck of the bottle, and then grabbed his buttock. Oh my God, dude, no. Not with a beer bottle. Not that fucking bottle. Does that mean you're choosing me? Not with a beer bottle. Please, not the bottle. Tell me, Jerome, I said, running the neck of the bottle over the bare skin of his ass. Your friend, dude. Use your friend. Say it like you really mean it, Jerome. Use your friend, dude. Use my ass as your friend. Please tell me, Jerome. Please, dude, use me in the ass with your friend. When it was over, I went over to Althea. Now it's your turn. Clean my friend. And I held my waist-covered one up to her face. No, she said, turning away. I grabbed her by the hair and turned her face towards me, and then held her nose until she opened her mouth to inhale. The sooner you do this, the sooner this ordeal will be over. I kept both hands on the back of her head so she wouldn't run away. Make it simple, or I'll hug you and just use you in my mouth. Do it the easy way and you'll have some control. I'll do it and it might hurt. Blink 3 times if you want to control the situation. A couple of seconds passed, and then she blinked 3 times. I told her to get down to business, and I didn't let her go until I felt a twitch that told me my friend wanted to get hard again, and then I pulled him out of her mouth. I went to the closet and reached for the video camera I had installed there. I took it out and showed it to Jerome. When I finish editing, all you'll see is that you're asking me to use your ass. If I ever see you again, Jerome, the recording will become public. I'll fill up your workplace with copies and put them on the internet. I'll find out who your friends are and send them all copies. Go away and stay inconspicuous, Jerome. I undid the handcuffs that bound Althea to the chair, and then gave her the keys to Jerome's handcuffs. Unlock it, get dressed, and then both of you get out of here. I left the bedroom, went down the stairs, and went into the study. I sat in a chair with a gun at the ready and waited to see if Jerome would be stupid enough to follow me. 10 minutes later, I heard the front door open and then close, and then I heard the car door slam. I watched from the window as the two of them drove away. I was lying in bed reading a book when I heard a car pull up to the entrance, and then the front door opened and closed. I heard footsteps coming up the stairs, and since I was still expecting Jerome to do something stupid, I reached over to the bedside table and picked up the gun. I put him under the blanket but pointed him towards the bedroom door and waited. The door opened and Althea came in. She stopped and looked at me. I never knew you could be such a bastard. You've never asked me to become one before. Did you have to humiliate Jerome like that? Yeah. For God's sake, why? He was telling you the truth. I really took him off, not him taking me off. Hold out your left hand. Althea did it and I asked, what do you see? What should I be looking for? Why don't you tell me what you see? It's just my wedding. Oh, that's right, your wedding ring, right where Jerome could see them. You could have followed him, but he knew you were married and made love to you anyway. Making love to someone else's woman can be a risky business. He was lucky. Some other husband could have killed him. You know it's going to be very awkward for me to work with him right now? That's not my problem. What you made me do was disgusting. How could you do this to me? You're lucky that's all I've done. Why are you here? When I gave you the keys to free Jerome, I specifically told you both to get out of here. Yes, you said it, but it was in a hurry, Herbie. You know you didn't really mean that. Of course I meant it, Althea. You've been lying to me for almost 9 years now, and you've been cheating on me for just as long. I don't need you in my life anymore. Listen, Herb, I know it's not going to be easy, but we'll get through it. I really love you, even if you don't believe it right now, and I'm keeping you to myself. I started to say something, but Althea raised her hand. Don't worry, Herb. It will be a waste of time and breath. We both know that you love me and that I usually get what I want, so don't try to fight it. I won't let you leave me. You can tell me to leave, but I won't do it. If you leave, I'll just follow you. I'm leaving you, Herbie. Get used to it. It will take a lot of hard work on my part, but I will prove to you that you are mine and that I am yours. I know that there is no such group as Black Men Anonymous. She began to undress. Isn't it too early for you to want to make love to me? I hope not. Watching Herbie the bastard in action turned me on. She climbed onto the bed. Move over, she said. End.